Welcome back to the next installment of the 15-minute Florist. Today we're talking about a very important topic, and that is selling sympathy work, something that we do every day, and we just want to help you to be able to do it a little bit better. Meet your teachers. On the left, that's me, Tim Huckabee, president of Floral Strategies, and then on the right, we've got Sam. Say hello, Sam.
Hello, everyone.
Sam is one of our trainers. He does a lot of work on site, on webinars. Very knowledgeable young man. Glad to have him with us today. So let's talk about sympathy. There are a lot of steps that you need to take to do this correctly, to do this well. We want to make sure that we are communicating and connecting with the customer, and also putting aside some of the kind of real standard fears and issues that often prevent us from selling at the right price points and engaging a customer the way that they really need to be treated and dealt with. So we're going to start off. We'll have Sam take the lead, and we're going to talk about the first fact. And please, Sam, jump in.
Well, the first point that we wanted to make today is anytime you learn, and you usually learn this right off the bat in the call, that you're dealing with a sympathy order or a funeral order, you have to be prepared to spend a little bit of extra time, take a little bit of extra time. If you've been a part of Floral Strategies training or even heard us talk here on the 15-minute Florist, you know that one of the things we pride ourselves on with our system is the efficiency and the ease with which we move through the order taking process. But it is important to note that what we don't teach is to rush through the process. And particularly in the case of sympathy and funeral orders, you do have to be prepared to spend a few extra minutes on these orders. And one of the ways that you do that or put customers at ease, and this is really our tip for you on this particular fact, is just to remind customers that they have as much time as they need, with helpful phrases like, take your time, there's no need to rush, I'm here to help you. And I'll speak from experience, and Tim, I'm sure you'd agree, the point where they're most likely to choke up, or there's kind of the point when they need you to step up and be the professional, is when you ask them what they want to say on the card.
Exactly.
That's the point when many customers start to cry. You know, if you work in the industry, you know this, and that's the point when they need you to say, you know, we can come back to this later if that's better for you, or take all the time you need to think about what you'd like to say on this special message.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good points. I kind of tend to do one of the other, depending on how upset the customer is. Yes, I'll literally direct them in another to another point, as you said, Sam. Say, you know what? We can come back to that. Let's talk about the flowers, or let's talk about some other aspect of the order. The other thing that you can do, you should be prepared to do, is give them some advice, because sometimes they are at a total loss as to what to say. So if they're choking up or if they're struggling, jump in there and ask them, do you want some help? Do you want some guidance? And you know, we kind of say the same things over and over, you know, with deep sympathy or in our thoughts and prayers, but customers will often comment like we're Shakespeare when we give them that advice. And it gets back to the point that they're just not in the right mindset. It's our job to help them. So,
and another point I would make, Tim, is this might be the first time that they're sending flowers to a funeral home. You know, I grew up in a religious community and a rural community, and so like, I remember as a young child going to the funeral home pretty regularly when anybody from town passed away, basically. But I remember it being a shock to me when I was in college, and I would have friends who their grandparent passed or whatever, and they were asking me what they could expect, like what's it going to be like at the funeral home, and I realized that that was the first time they'd ever been there. And so while it might seem basic to us that people use common phrases like with deepest sympathy or our thoughts and prayers are with you or whatever, that's not a given for many of our customers. And it's part of our job as the expert to help them with those kind of things.
For sure. So let's take a look at fact number 2. And that is that we need to be empathetic to customers. And we'll both talk on this because in preparing for this workshop, we had lots of stories that we were sharing back and forth. What we want you to understand here is that somebody in this customer's life just passed away, and it is a tough order for them to place. We need to connect with them. We need to be empathetic. And what I mean by that is be sensitive to the fact that this is a loved one who's passed away, and don't be in a rush. Don't be in a hurry. Too often, we hear people take orders and it's very clinical, and you don't want to do that because you're representing the company and you do want to make a good impression on the customer. You want them to feel as though they had this very attentive, sensitive, empathetic person. So our tip here is that when you understand that it's not a corporate order, and what I mean by that, a corporate order, they say, oh, so-and-so's mother-in-law passed away. You don't need to get emotionally involved because that's number 8 on that person's to-do list that day. But it's important to jump in and connect with them. And there's no definitive right or wrong way of doing it, but I like to say, I'm sorry for your loss. Sometimes I will volunteer. I'm going to help you to choose special flowers.